Let's now look at the bibliography. So the bibliography is the list of sources. And in the bibliography, we're going to have all of the information from our sources. Now, there is a certain way the MLA says to format the bibliography. First, you want to put it on a new sheet of paper. Now, this doesn't mean to save it as a separate document, and I'd highly suggest you don't save it as a separate document. What this means is once you're done with the essay and you're ready for your bibliography, go up to insert and insert a page break. So it shows on that next full page. We want it to kind of be separated from the essay itself. It should also be titled Works Cited for MLA. And so that's why we hear Works Cited page, for the bibliography. But in MLA, we do want to title it Works Cited. It should all be double spaced. So you want to double space the entire bibliography. So just like we don't mess with the font when we are writing our essays, also don't mess with the spacing. Leave it as double spaced. Everything should be double spaced. You should never have to change this. We also want to alphabetize our sources. And I can see students saying that, we only have 3 sources for this next paper. Why do they need to be alphabetized? Not all papers are going to be like that. I think in my master's thesis, I had, I don't know, 80 sources. And so you can imagine how difficult it would be to match up the in-text citation with the source if they're not alphabetized. Okay, so we do want to alphabetize even if you only have 2 or 3 sources. And then we're going to include a hanging indent. So a hanging indent is going to look different than how you normally indent your paragraphs. The hanging indent is almost opposite, where the first line is not indented and all the subsequent lines are indented. And we're going to look at that in just a moment here. If you can't figure out how to do a hanging indent, then I would go to YouTube and just put in hanging indent and then whatever program you're using to write the paper, and somebody will have a video showing you how to do that. If you can't find something like that, let me know and I'll maybe make a video or I'll show you how. Here we have an example. If you want to see an example that you can use as a template, you can look at number 9 on page 316. It's going to talk about a bi-monthly or monthly journal. Some of our journals are only going to be published once a year or maybe twice a year, but the MLA format for that bibliography entry is going to be the same. We can see we need the last name, comma, first name, and a period. Again, I'm going to point out any of these errors that you might make. So you want to be really careful to do this exactly like it's shown in the book. We have the title. It's going to be in quotation marks. So titles of articles are in quotation marks because they're part of a larger work, whereas the journal title is going to be italicized. So we can see that here that the title is in quotation marks. We're going to have a period inside the quotation marks, then our journal title. We have the volume and the number, and all of this can be found on EBSCO. If you click on the article, you should see the volume, the number. We'll have a comma and then the date. And then we're going to have the page numbers or the page range. So you remember on our in-text citation, we listed the page where we found the quote or the material we're paraphrasing. Here we're giving the full page range. So if it's in a journal, it could very well be pages 280 to 294. Okay, so we want to put that entire range of this article. Then we want to list the database, and because a database is kind of like a complete work, it's going to be in italics also. And then we're going to include the DOI as a clickable link. Now we can see in this one, we have https://www.doi.org/. You'll need to type this in and then put in that DOI number that you see on the article. What's nice about this is it will take me right to your article. The book does say if there is no DOI number, you put the URL, but I can tell you that URL is not going to work. And that's if you open the article in EBSCO and you just copy the URL and paste it in. If I click on that, it's going to take me to our school website. It's going to ask me to log in. Once I log in, it will take me to the main EBSCO page, that search page. So I'm not going to be able to get your article. So the DOI numbers are awesome. Make sure though that you're adding the initial information to make sure that it's a clickable link. And then leave it as a clickable link in the bibliography. One thing I wanted to point out in this entry is this has two authors. And in MLA, if we have a second author, we change from last name, first name to first name, last name. Okay, so I wanted you to see an example of that. Let's now see how the works cited page will look. In the top right-hand corner, we still will have our last name and the page number. And then we have our entries in alphabetical order. You can see the hanging indent here. So the first line of each entry is going to be all the way to the left. Every other line is going to be indented. Don't go to the next line and hit the space bar. Instead, include it as a hanging indent. Like I said, you can go on YouTube and see how to do it. The reason why you don't want to hit the space bar is if you make any changes, it can mess up the formatting. And then if you save it as a PDF or some other file, can also change how it looks there. You'll see that my DOIs are clickable links. You'll notice that the one DOI goes on to the next line. So I don't mind if you just put the entire web address onto that next line. If you are going to split it up, you'll notice I split it up after a punctuation mark, which is that slash. Okay, and so you want to separate it at some type of punctuation mark. And this is basically what your works cited page is going to look like.